Hello and welcome to this B1 Usability Package 5.0 sneak preview. My name is Rasmus Roth Jensen and I'm the CTO of Boyum IT, and I will be in this video taking you through different new features we are expecting to put in 5.0 of the usability package, which will come in January 2012. Before we go into the new features, a small disclaimer. All screenshots and information in this video is based on the beta software we have right now, and any features discussed is in final testing, so things might change in the final product. Let's first quickly look at the design goals of 5.0 and review what we have seen in the first four installments of the usability package so far. Our 1.0 release was our initialization and functionality release. That wasn't out in many countries. 2.0 was the first globalized version with certification. 3.0 was all about the usability pack and licensing. 4.0 was the out of the box, the performance and discoverability, and which leads us to 5.0. And the design goals of 5.0 is productivity, help, server, and integration. We'll go into that in the next slides. First up is new additions to the productivity package. Quickly summarize, the productivity package is a set of modules that you, as you wish, can purchase along with the usability package, so we still have one add-on. At current, before 5.0, we have three productivity package modules. We had the B1 Print and Delivery, we had B1 Document Manager, and the B1 Budgets. With Usability Package 5.0, we will be bringing you two new productivity package modules. The first one is B1 Mailchimp, which is an integration to an online newsletter service. And the second one is B1 Time Task, which is a simple task planning and registration tool. So let's see a little more details on those two. B1 Mailchimp is a service that is hooked up to the Mailchimp online newsletter service. Mailchimp is a hugely popular service around the world, and what we offer with the product is we offer the integration between contact persons in SAP Business One and newsletter recipients in Mailchimp. So when people unsubscribe, subscribe, or bounce in the system, the data will be integrated between the two systems, and categorization between in grouping target groups in Mailchimp will also be available from within SAP Business One. Also coming is the B1 Time Task, which is a simple time registration tool that tries to focus on the market lower than the big enterprise project solutions. The system will work in 3 steps, where you first plan your systems or tasks. You will then work in your worksheet in order to fill out what you do of work and register your time. And finally, the billing wizard will come up and enable you to make your invoices based on what you have actually worked on. The B1 Mailchimp and B1 Time Task productivity modules will be covered in more details as we get closer to release in separate videos, while the rest of this sneak preview will focus on the core of the usability package. The second design goal we have is help. We see that as usability package has grown bigger and bigger, more and more complex features are in there because you asked for them, and we don't want to leave anyone out, so we have thought a lot about making it easier to understand the product and taking some initiatives in order to do that. And let's go through them. First part of making things easier is the introduction of the new mini help system. What we have done is that we have gone through the entire package, and where we found advanced or hard to understand features, we have now a small question mark next to these features that when you press them, a sidebar will appear on the screen. So an example here is universal function, where we have the format of a SQL report. This is a field where you can put in a specific code syntax in order to mimic your different columns, and it might be difficult for you to understand what that actually means. So there's now a question mark button next to it, and when you press it, the sidebar will come along and help you what this feature actually means, how to use it, some samples and some screenshots. So when you try out Usability Package 5.0, you will begin to see a lot of these buttons, and here's a few samples. For example, all the different modules have their own. Things like render mode in item placement tool configuration, what the add and update UID in mandatory fields does, how the journal remark system works, and the keywords you can use with them for easy reference. So in general, you will see a lot of these, and they are there for your help, so you can easily get going on a new feature. The release is of course not only focused about help and making the existing functionalities easier to work with, but also about new features. And here comes our third design goal, which is server. And with the server, we are proud to announce that we will be introducing the B1UP server component. The B1 server component is a 100% optional feature. This means we are not forcing you to have additional installs. We still want you to have your out-of-the-box experience with usability, but if you want the more advanced features, you can optionally add the server component and gain even more features. As with the rest of Usability Package, it is incredibly easy to set up. This requires only 3 simple steps. First of all, you will need to give us some basic information on how to log on to the database. Then we need some email settings if something goes wrong, so we can send out error emails. And then you need to take your different databases and provide manager username and password in order to log on to the system to executing the different server component tasks. And with the new server component, we will be giving you 3 new features out of the box. And these are the exchange rate importer, the B1 printer delivery scheduler, and the B1 MailChimp synchronizer. So let's go into those features. So with the server component set up, everything else setting up different functionalities you want to use is happening within Business One, just as you would before. The different configurations having new features will now have the new server setup, and as I mentioned, the first one is exchange rate importer, which allow you to import exchange rates without people needing to log in. So you simply go to the configuration of exchange rate, say you want to enable that feature, tell possible if you want to have a successful email, an error email every time it imports or fails, and you tell it when during the day should it actually run. Default is it running in the middle of the night, so it doesn't affect any people, or if you use a monthly schedule, that it runs on a specific day of the month. The way it works is that in the old way you had the client and that connected to the internet and downloaded the exchange rates with the client. But the problem, of course, was that if no one logged in, example during the weekends, there was no exchange rate put in. The new system, as a server component, is running on the server, and it will run on a schedule and automatically import the data into the database. Next up is the B1 Printer Delivery Scheduler, which allows you to schedule B1 Printer Delivery batch runs. The way it works is you set up a schedule where you tell what type of thing am I wanting to send out. It could be invoices, it could be activities, it could be any of the documents supported by the B1 Printer Delivery. Then you choose your report configuration, either default selected by Business Partner or a specific you have set up. In this case, I could, for example, set up an unsent invoices configuration and select my action of what should happen. In this case, the email action. I could set up a success email every time the schedule runs and executes successfully, and I need to set up an error email giving that if something goes wrong, you will be notified. Then you have your filter, just like you have in normal document printing and mass delivery, where you can say only things not being printed yet and so on. While the most important part, of course, is the schedule, where you can set up different schedules. So you can make minutely schedules every 10 minutes, for example, hourly schedules every 2 hours, daily schedules, weekly schedules where you send out on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, for example, and monthly schedules where you send out the 10th of the month. You set up some start dates, and you can have a possible end date. And when you add this, the schedule will be there and will automatically be picked up by the server components and run at your set interval. All this can be done with your existing configurations for the B1 Printer Delivery. You don't need to set up new report actions unless you actually want to do that. Else you can just simply set it up to use the existing, and it will automatically pick up the different crystal reports and report actions. Final server component in the initial release is the B1 Mailchimp Synchronizer. So that on a schedule will import the different changes from the server onto the business partner. So instead of needing to go in and manually synchronize, it will synchronize on a schedule instead. Next design goal is our integration. And with integration, we will produce what is called a plugin system. It was previously branded as, some people might know, the B1 Partner logic. And what it actually is a way to get rid of various modification add-ons and run them as plugins instead within Usability Package in order to avoid multiple add-ons. Multiple add-ons in general are bad because if you have multiple add-ons, you need multiple connections, giving you multiple startup time. So what we are offering to everyone is a way to say, if you had some modifications, you can write a plugin. So we will be able to run your plugin from within Business One, so you leverage our startup system and you leverage our license system if needed. All is done from the main configuration, where we have a new plugins tab, and you press manage plugins, and you can register plugins and remove plugins in the system. The really great part of this system is that it have an automatic update system in it. That means that if you register a plugin, you will just register the plugin, and the next time a user logs on, that user will automatically be upgraded to that plugin without any prompts. So you don't need to go about having multiple add-ons where you have the different installers running up on different clients. This will just happen completely automatically behind the scenes, and the user will not even aware that they have been upgraded. So in essence, if you have developer skills in-house, you have the option to write your business logic, and we will provide the rest. We will send out information later on when releases are coming closer on how to actually do this, and being able to give you the leverage of our connection and license system. So please contact us if this is something you would like to have. But we are opening it up to everyone, SSPs and VARs. So these were the design goals, but of course we have also made a lot of enhancements to the existing functionality, and let's go through those. First up is the most asked for feature in 2011, and that is the ability to take B1 printer delivery and do email grouping. In the past, we only had the option to say if you did a document printing and you ended up with 4 documents to the same business partner, it would actually end up with 4 separate emails. Now in the report action you have the group emails, and you can now set it as business partner level. If you do so, the 4 emails will automatically be turned into a single email and sent in one go instead of 4. So this is a huge benefit for people having multiple business partners having multiple emails at the same time. Also new to B1 printer delivery is that we now support production in terms of bill of materials and production order. And for that we will also be up to now 29 supported delivery types, and with the version 5.0 we will actually release pre-made document crystal reports for every single of the supported types, so you don't need to go on and make them from scratch yourself anymore. Next up is universal function macro, where we now will be introducing if, else and while structures. So we are now able to use if sentences to make parts of a macro conditional, and we are able to do loop structures where we loop to a different set of commands until a specific condition has been met. This is all nice. It's part of the nerdy part of the system, and it also brings a lot of complexity to how you use macros. So in order to be able to better leverage the different macros, we are now also introducing an advanced editor. So next to the normal code window of macro is an open editor button that will open up this new window. And in that we will have color coding, we will have tab indentation, we will have IntelliSense where you press control space and it will show you all the different options you have of putting in different commands. And also making it easy, because if you hover the mouse over any of the different commands, the small dynamic help over here will actually tell you what that command is and how to use it. So this should make editing of macros much easier and much more understandable. Also, we will be bringing you a macro debugger. This means that instead of just pressing your functionality and having the entire macro run, you will be able to actually set up that it's in debug mode, and when you press your button that should run the macro, instead of running it, it will open up the debugger and place it on the first line of the macro. And then you will slowly be able to step by step run each single line of the macro, so you have much more control over where something is wrong, where something goes right. While doing the debugging, you will be able to see what is in your store values when you use those, and as such you will be able to much better understand what you are doing with macros. Another area where we have done a lot of work is in the SQL report, where we have extended the survey value system. In the past, in the first release, you were able to say that the survey values like these was able to be string or date or number. Later on came that if you put in OCRD, you got the choose from list for Business Partner, for example. And now we are bringing along the types of variables you might have that would look like combo boxes. So in this case, I'm using OSLP, which is the table for salespersons, and the result will be a list of salespersons where I can choose from instead of needing to know the different numbers of the salespersons. With the new release, we support 30 new types of these combo box selected survey values. As you can see in the list, it's pretty much all the different things you might need, including a special yes/no feature. But if you run into something that is not here, we have the custom SQL, where you instead of the table name can write SQL : your select statement with value and description from the table you want, and in turn create your own custom choose from list or combo box here. So a huge benefit for those using the survey values. Also, to SQL report, we bring the support of proper sum columns. So in the past, we could put in the sum, so it could show an additional row with the sum in for a doc total or another total in general. Now we have the correct design of these totals with the new addition in 8.81. So we now are also able to work with some columns on collapse level and multiple sub columns at the same time if needed. They are always visible on the screen just as they would in the normal Business One design windows. So a nice little feature for the sum columns compared to how the previous workaround, because the SDK didn't support it. To crystal reports, we are filling out a missing gap in case where we didn't have the option to put in the golden arrows on the crystal reports, and they are now fully supported in the system. Final feature I will share with you for this preview is the new mass import system. So if you have a configuration you have made in one database and need to move it to another, you normally need to go through several different steps in order to do this. You need to export everything out from the old database and one by one importing it into the new database. So now we have made a new package system, the BCP, which stands for Boyum Configuration Package. And within that you can actually add multiple configurations like validation systems, item placement tool, the metadata, universal functions, but also things like mandatory fields, function buttons, and so on. And in that regards, you will be able to choose that package as one single file and import it in one go. Also, because universal functions normally have overlapping UIDs, you will be able to re-import universal functions with new UIDs, so they will ensure unique codes. The new package system is the way we will in the future provide you with samples. So if we have samples, we will try to include a BCP file, so you can just, instead of needing to go to a sample on several pages, just press a single button, import it into the system, and you have the sample in your system. So these were the features I wanted to share with you today. And let's quickly have a look at the timeline, what we are expecting for this release. We are expecting the final release to be on the 13th of January 2012. But we are really happy to announce that the beta is ready today. If you go to boyum-it.com/spo/beta, you should be able to download it today and try it out. We really hope you would like to participate in the beta, so we can get the best release and the best feedback from you guys. So with that, I'd like to thank you for participating in this sneak preview of what is coming in B1 Usability Package 5.0, and I hope you enjoyed what you see.